Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank all the representatives from BP for being here tonight. I do appreciate it, and thank you very much. And I will be making a motion after I ask a few questions that we go ahead and continue this discussion when you deem that we've completed the discussion on BioChico. I wanted to ask if BP would share their monitoring data that they've collected at the Chico site so that the public will know when this is all over, if all the cleanup has been done properly. I think transparency is crucial. Would they share that data with us?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So you...
I'm sorry, what are you asking for? BP or DEP?
BP's data. They've collected, I guess, data at the site. They would share that monitoring data?
Absolutely. That would be available.
Right away?
Yes, if it has been collected. I guess I'm not understanding the question.
The soil samples that were collected before the construction began are still under analysis. Usually takes about 14 days or so to get those results back and evaluate what they really mean. So they're not ready. They're not ready yet, but they'll be reported back to DEP and evaluated in accordance with the regulations.
What about the water sampling? Have you done some of that in BioChico? I think you said you had, and we'd like to have that shared also.
No, the water sampling has not been done. It's my understanding that it's not, but will be done next week.
Would you also share that, please, with the public?
Yes, correct.
Great.
Keith Wilkins, Escambia County. I hate to barge in at this point, but Escambia County did collect 2 water samples, one in BioChico, or in the close vicinity, one off of Sanders Beach at the mouth of BioChico, and one water sample off of Lakeview Park, or Lakewood Park, on the county side of BioChico. We also collected sediment samples and benthic organisms sampling also.
Okay, great. Also, I took a call from a lady today, and I'm going to have to refer back to my notes, from a lady that lived near, actually it was her daughter. This was an elderly lady that lives near this staging site, and she had some issues concerning if we have a hurricane and there's some materials that are blown from this staging area, such as contaminated booms, and they land on her house, that her insurance won't cover, that there's some exclusions on oil spills in her homeowner's insurance, and they won't cover the removal. Well, BP would be responsible for any damage to any homeowners near this area that their homeowner's insurance won't cover. Another issue she had was she has a problem with breathing, and if some type of oil material gets in the air from this site, that she actually might need to be relocated because she won't be able to breathe. And would BP be responsible for those expenses?
I'm Gary Willis. I'm with BP. To your first answer there is we have set up a claims process, and you can access it in 3 different ways: through the phone line, through the website, or actually visiting our local claims site, which is on Navy Boulevard. And specifically to your question, if a resident thinks that anything that they have a claim that we've caused by this accident, that they can visit that website and file a claim. And since every individual claim is very individual, they'll have a claim adjuster talk with them and come up with the amount of money that they've been impacted and reimburse them.
So this lady, if she, we have hurricane season that starts June 1. So if a contaminated boom is picked up, say 300 or 400 foot boom is picked up and deposited on her home, and her insurance doesn't cover, BP will pay for that then?
I would think that would be a claim.
So that's a yes.
File. I think each individual one would be to assess, but based on what you're saying there, I would think so, yes. It's our material, we're responsible for it, and to keep it safe.
Would BP also, I think that we might need someone, an independent observer monitoring this site, aside from BP and DEP, with all due respect, sir. Would BP be willing to monitor this site, and would BP allow the City of Pensacola to hire an independent observer and pay for that independent observer?
I don't know the answer to that, actually. I know that the state has been funded some funds to take some independent actions other than what the Unified Command has sanctioned. So that may be a source of that. but we act in conjunction with the U.S. Coast Guard and with your Florida state representatives to come up with the appropriate controls and the appropriate safeguard for that. So I'm not sure if that's something on top of what the Unified Command has sanctioned. I would think would be something that you would want to run up through the state and have them help you assess that.
I'll tell you what, why don't you do that for this community? Why don't you see if BP will pay for an independent person to observe this site and to monitor it, and the city of Pensacola will retain someone to do that. Would you get back with me on that?
I'd be glad to get back to you on that.
Okay, great.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah.
At your place, and is a memo of today, May 27th, written by our city attorney, which addresses what you were just referring to insofar as an independent observer at the site and proper compensation for that particular person. On my agenda here, I wanted to hear from the council and from our visitors and even from the public, but then we're going to discuss that as a council. And I'm going to allow Mr. Wells to explain his memo, and then we can discuss that very thing that you're bringing up.
Okay, getting back to a few things, because I hear this from fellow councilmen that they feel comfortable and that they visited the site and they feel a lot better about it. And I realize that we do need a staging area here to handle this situation in our community, but I don't feel so comfortable with BP. Because I've heard stories, I've heard BP's claim that only so much oil is leaking from this site, and come to find out, it's 5 times that amount of oil. So although I want to believe BP, I struggle with that. And with that said, too, I would also had a question about when BP moved to the staging area in Bio Chico, when did you notify city staff of this? When did you notify city staff, and who was that staff member? And give me the date that you notified them.
Sir, I do not have that answer for you tonight. I don't have the people here that would be able to tell you that, but I can get that for you.
Okay, well, I just picked up a copy of the Gosport today, and on May 21st, they seemed to know about it. But here at the city, we didn't seem to know about it. So I would encourage everyone to go pick up one, because they knew about this several days ago.
Again, I'll get that for you, that information.
I'd like to know who you notified, though, because they knew about it and we didn't.
Yes, sir. I'll get it for you.
And with that, I think I've got everything. If I do have something else, I've got a bunch of notes here. I also would like to recognize that CFO Alex Sink has a representative here. I think they have some words to say at some point. I've been in contact with CFO Alex Sink's office daily. The level of concern that her and her office has is great. And she has assured me that she's going to work with this community to make sure that we're whole. I do believe in Alex Sink, so I have a comfort level with her, maybe not as much with BP, but with her. So I would hope to hear from her representative before the night's over. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, when the public speaks, I have Mr. Venable from Tallahassee from Alex Sink's office is going to be our #1 speaker.
Great, thank you.